Welcome our speaker, presenter, friend, partner. I don't know. There's so many different ways that we could reference you, but I want to welcome Jonathan Wicks from Well and Good Professional Services, and thank you, Jonathan, for being here and for taking the time to share all of your knowledge with everyone.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Goodness, love the Breezeway Elevate series. You guys do a great job of the continual content for professionals. So yes, I am happy to be here. We ready to rumble? Let's go.
Ready to go.
Perfect. So this topic today is labeled the 5 stars of guest readiness. And as Corinne mentioned, my name is Jonathan Wicks. I'm the founder of Well and Good Professional Services. We will get into that a little bit later. But first, I want to welcome the professionals who take time on a Thursday in the middle of the summer to better themselves at their craft. The professionals who join an Elevate series. The folks that are on this call right now or watching it back in the recording, these are the professionals who care, the people who truly care, not just about guest readiness, but about themselves as professionals, developing, getting better, and the continual progress of individuals and of companies and of actually an industry that we all care about. And so I want to welcome you, whether we are partnered with Well and Good or whether I've met you or whether I haven't. Either way, I am so glad that you took some time, and I appreciate Breezeway giving us the chance to connect in this platform. And so, welcome to the professionals who care. We have a dilemma that faces our industry, and that dilemma is prevailing. It is a dilemma of guest readiness. This is not a new one, but it's not one that's been solved at this point. When we think about guest readiness and all that goes into it, there are so many complexities that are just unique to our industry. Hotels don't have to deal with what we have to deal with. There is of course, guest readiness nature to any sort of a accommodation nature. Of course, a hotel has to ensure some things that are done. But when you think about a vacation rental and all that needs to go in from the time a guest checks out to the time that a new guest is coming in for the vacation of a lifetime, there's a lot that has to happen. And this whole phrase of guest readiness was really what spurred me to come into this industry full time, because I felt the dilemma. I had felt it as a guest, right? When you're hoping and your expectations are there, but they're not always met because something wasn't quite right at a home. And of all the variances, that dilemma really has impacted the guest. It's hurt our reputation, to be honest. That's where vacation rentals ultimately struggle with consumer confidence because of the fact that people have walked into a home that was not ready for them. People have experienced that firsthand. And that dilemma of guest readiness is what we are hoping to dive into today and walk away with some solid potential solutions. And I've mentioned this a little bit before. This is the first time I'm introducing this whole concept. And so I think this will hopefully be a talk that sparks a conversation and that continues to have us work towards a better industry, and that begins with solving this dilemma of guest readiness. So the big idea that over kind of supersedes the whole talk will be that true guest readiness in the vacation rental world is more than cleaning. There may have been a day where getting the clean done was all that it took to have a home be considered guest ready. Those days are over. We know that. The expectations are higher. The scrutiny is there. There's competition, all the things that mean now we can't just have the property be cleaned, quote unquote, and then call it good, right? When there is more to it. And that was really the basis of what I was looking at as the industry myself when informing Well and Good. It was that, yes, cleaning is such a huge part, but there's more to it. And if we don't take a comprehensive approach to guest readiness, I do feel like we lack that we sit in that dilemma of a lack of consumer confidence. So that is the big idea, followed by a bold statement. In-field professionals, you and I, the folks that are on this webinar most likely represent inspectors and cleaning professionals and the people who are actually in the homes. We're there, we're in the homes. In-field professionals, we oftentimes bear the most responsibility for guest readiness, and we need better support and we need louder voices in the matter. That's from my perspective, and I believe that most of you that are listening would tend to agree. We know the weight that comes on us. We know the responsibility that we bear to have this home be perfect, in essence, for guests, right? And all of that weight and all that responsibility, we need to talk about it a lot more. We need voices about what guest readiness is, what it isn't. We need support from all different parts of the stakeholders involved in order to actually achieve this. That's got to happen because we know, again, the responsibility. And a lot of us, we've been doing this for a bit. At Well and Good, we've done the work. Our company represents 250 professionals with over 200 customers. Well and Good has completed 250,000 services, 20 locations across the country. And just like you, I'm guessing, we share a mission. There is one mission that in-field professionals share, and that mission, confidence. We're looking for confidence. We want to be able to have confidence that we did our job and that our job is going to result in a satisfied guest. Ironically, guests want to have confidence as well. They are sitting there hoping that this place is ready for them. They're expecting this, but they just have lacked that level of confidence thus far. A lot of work has gone in, of course, to better our industry, and we'll get into that as we go. But what we are all going for is confidence. In-field professionals want confidence. Guests want confidence. Hosts and property managers also want confidence that they're equipping those in-field professionals to get the job done fully. So that is the mission, and that is the mission of not just Well and Good, but I believe that's the mission of every in-field professional that cares. We want to be able to operate with confidence, and we want to then be able to give and provide confidence. So that leads us to the 5 stars of guest readiness. Let's dive into these things. I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to show you all 5 of them, and then we're going to talk about them individually. So the 5 stars of guest readiness from the perspective of a servicing professional, I believe also from the perspective of a guest and the perspective of property managers, with all of the experience and things that we've seen, here's what I believe the 5 stars of guest readiness are. I believe that we have clean, accessible, stocked, safe, and accurate. And those 5 things, I believe, equate to guest readiness. So there they are out there. Hopefully you don't just drop off and say, got it, done. Those are the 5 stars. Let's dive into each one of them. If you do, that's all right. No worries. Let's go to the first one, which is clean. This one's kind of obvious, right? People would think, okay, I get this clean, but let's dive into what specifically we are trying to do, because our goal is going to be to have specific things for each one of these stars that we can hang our hat on, that we can know for sure happen. And that way we are able to have confidence, again, be transmitted. So for the cleaning aspect of it, the first thing that we see for clean is that the clean was completed by a verified, trained, and compensated professional. I believe all 3 of those matter. We have to know who's in the home, right? We have to have done a background check. We have to have filled out paperwork, right? This whole concept of just the cash and under the table and all the nature of vacation rentals, I, for one, sick of it. I think a lot of us are. How about we actually go above board in our industry, and how about we verify the folks that are in the properties? How about we train them? How about we give them resources and training? And my goodness, if you're not doing that, get involved with training. It's not just enough to say to a residential cleaner, hey, go ahead and go clean a vacation rental home. There's a lot of training that needs to be involved. And then compensated. I think that compensation is huge. Oftentimes, there's not enough of a paper trail for compensation, and I think that that's an important part. So the first part of a clean is verified, trained, and compensated professional. The next, simple photo and work order documentation of each service. Now, we all here as Breezeway customers, we all understand the simplicity of this when you have a partner like Breezeway. But let's understand that there are still those operating without. And what we are trying to do is distinguish ourselves. If we're serious about guest readiness, we are going to distinguish ourselves in this way. The photo and work order documentation didn't even exist not many years ago. But now, yes, it's probably the standard, but it needs to be a certainty, and the certainty that there is a work order. There's teams out there that maybe use Breezeway for scheduling, but don't actually use the work order function. I believe that Breezeway's, work order is the best thing of that start task and end task. That shows us when we were in the home. That shows that the pictures were uploaded at the time of service. Like, those things matter. That is the first aspect of guest readiness, is a clean home. Next, we have an accessible home. So the accessible home starts with an issue that is prevalent. We talk about the dilemma of guest readiness. We know how oftentimes guests get to properties and they cannot get inside. Well, I'm going to start with saying that if the servicer can't get inside, if the professional who's the infield professional can't get inside on the very first try, then we are not setting up for success on guest readiness. So our level of accessible is that the digital code or the lockbox and key works immediately for servicing professionals first time. And that's important because we sometimes are leaning on the exception, right? So maybe we are making a call to someone to open it virtually, right? The code doesn't work, so I'm going to make a call to maybe somebody's virtual assistant or maybe somebody's guest liaison and see if they can just open it manually. That may work for an infield professional, but that may work at 11 o'clock in the morning. What if it's midnight? What if the guests are getting in late? What if that doesn't correlate? We need to make sure that that code and lockbox and key works immediately for servicing professionals. The next thing is that there is backup access available, but not reliant. I think that sometimes we lean again on that reliant nature of the backup, whereas the first option needs to be operable, and then the next is not. This sounds rudimentary for some of us that have been doing this for a while, but I think it is time that we give a voice to what actual guest readiness is. Because if that battery is running low and we are seeing that the actual digital code may not work for the guest, the infield professional must do something about that. Because if not, we are going to have a non-guest ready home. We are going to have a guest waiting outside, the worst of situations starting their vacation. We need to be able to understand that access is a huge part of the first ones of guest readiness. So that is point number two. Let's move along to point number three, a stocked home. So the stocked nature of a home again has evolved as well. When you think about old school vacation rentals, it was literally like you brought your own stuff. Those days have changed, and for a guest-ready home in today's vacation rental industry, it must be a stocked home. So the way that we see the stocked nature is that first there are fresh linens and towels for each occupant. You need to have the items there. They need to be hotel level linens and towels. I obviously am a proponent of having them be laundered offsite, but as long as they are there fresh and certainly fully sanitized and presented for the guests, I think we have a stocked home from the linens and towels perspective. The next would be consumable items for 7+ days. This is where, again, I'm setting this and I'm open to conversations. By all means, this is one of the benefits of introducing this today is that I'm talking to a lot of infield professionals, right? And so I'm open to where that number should be and things, but I believe that 7+ days is a minimum standard to have for things like your toilet paper and your paper towels and trash bags and the maybe laundry and dish soaps and things like that, shampoo and conditioner. The items that are provided should be lasting more than one day. I think that the 1 day nature, the starter set, okay, sure. Again, this is an evolving and a professional industry, and we need to take that seriously. And so, 7+ days for consumable items. Come at me if you think it should be different. Let's go to the next one, which is dishware and utensils for all guests. That is important and oftentimes not always meeting the mark. Maybe the dishware was in place at one point, but it's not now. We need to be able to take action on the stocking of properties to ensure that each one of these, at least there's enough cups for everybody, right? At least there's enough utensils for the folks that is the stocked home. The next one is safe, and I always yield the floor to our friend Justin Ford, who has done revolutionary work in our industry to enhance the safety of vacation rentals across the country and the globe. But here's the way that I think, from a guest readiness perspective, that in-field servicing professionals can really ensure that safety has happened. And so here's the way I'm going to list off the items all together. I'll walk through them. This is not a comprehensive list on safety. I think it's important to note that there are other things that do fall into the safety aspect, but from the guest readiness perspective, it is that we have operational smoke detectors and smoke and CO2 detectors, but the minimum of smoke detectors operational. Fire suppression of some type. Some places have sprinkler systems. Most places have fire extinguishers, but they need to be working and operable on fire suppression. Pool and hot tub safety measures are in place. Again, there's different variances. What do you do? Do you have a gate? Do you have a lock? Do you have signs? Like all those different things. There needs to be something. If we're doing absolutely nothing, we're not taking any steps towards safety. And so there needs to be some sort of a safety measure. First aid kit is also important. Far too many homes do not have first aid kits in our industry. We need to change that. That needs to be accessible for guests. And then external cameras only. Now, this one I put into the safety category. I believe that we need to, as an industry, wrap our collective arms around this fact that this is a problem and we have to confront it. And who's the best to confront it? The folks that are in the homes, the folks that are seeing the homes, to be able to ensure that there are no interior cameras. Interior cameras are illegal, they are not allowed, and we are needing to make sure that we are holding that line to ensure not just guest readiness, but this particular point of the safety of the guest is critical. And so that's where I see the safety aspect being. Let's move to point number 5. This is an accurate home. I know folks, when I've stayed at vacation rentals, sometimes I'm like, is this even the same house that's on the listing? Like, I see a listing and then you go to a house and it's like, this is night and day, like not quite the same place. So what can we do about that? On the accuracy side, the first would be listing images match the servicing images. And Breezeway does such a good job of this, of even having us be able to have reference photos, right? Those reference photos should be from the listing. We should be mimicking the listing on a regular basis, and that should look very similar. If there are major changes on the servicing images, there needs to be changes on the listing. And that has been, again, if you listen to the guests over time, a lot of times people they're not confident, they're not certain. And if we can make sure that these images match in a level of certainty there, that's going to help our accuracy. Additionally, the accurate nature covers the functionality of appliances and amenities. Not just the refrigerator, and I think that appliances really do matter. We need to have functional appliances, but those amenities. When there's a pickleball court that's got the paddles listed in the image, and it's got that, well, then we need to make sure there's actually paddles, right? We need to ensure that the beanbag cornhole toss is actually there, that the hot tub actually works. These amenities need to be verified in order to have an accurate listing, not just one that's touting a bunch of amenities and a bunch of a great place, but then the guests get in there and there's nothing that reflects or resembles that listing. And these things happen, right? And I know, again, when we're in the middle of the summer and you all that are on an Elevate series, I know that we are talking to the best professionals in the game, of the folks who actually understand all of these. None of this is new. I wouldn't expect it to be. The idea of this is that let's consolidate 5 items and let's start to get serious about these 5 being a comprehensive look at guest readiness. And so if we have some sort of a consensus that says, yeah, if we nail all 5 of these, the home is going to be ready for the guest. That would be an overall win, right? We know a clean home, an accessible home, a stocked home, a safe home, and an accurate home. It's a casa that I would like to stay at, and that is the 5, the ultimate. There's a lot of things about what type of home it is that don't factor into this, right? It's not whether it's the biggest home or the sexiest home or any of that. A guest ready home is home that's ready for folks to come in. It's as simple as that. And so we are looking to then take the next step about, well, what do we do about it? So if we have guest readiness in this 5 stars, what are we actually, as servicing professionals, what are we going to do about this? Because we know there's still that dilemma. So I'm going to give some of the things that I think that we can do as a collective whole, and then also things that we are going to be doing at Well and Good to further this level of confidence for guest readiness. So the first thing I believe that we must do as a whole, we need to give a voice. And that means allowing professionals to communicate the homes that are clearly not guest ready. This one is huge. I think that sometimes infield professionals feel trapped, right? They're going in and they're doing their job, maybe to clean the home or to inspect the home, but they're seeing all these other things that clearly are a problem, whether it be that the batteries in the entry door are not charged fully, or it's that there's a cut mirror that's got now exposed glass, and you're sitting there like, what am I supposed to do about this? I've got to be able to say something, because all again, we bear the liability. Oftentimes the infield professionals have such a responsibility that's on them that we have got to be able to allow those professionals to communicate when homes are clearly not guest ready. And here at Well and Good, we have been able to give this voice through what we call the guest readiness attest. And this has been a game changer for us. Oh, it has helped. Infield professionals love this because at the end of every work order, we have a simple statement. And that statement is the guest readiness attest that reads along the lines of, I certify to the best of my knowledge that this home is guest ready based off of the criteria of cleaned, stocked, and accessible. So we take those first three and we notify that to the best of their ability, they would sign their name. The cleaning professional would sign their name if that property is guest ready to the best of their ability. If it's not, they list the reason in that exact same place. They list the reason why it's not guest ready. What a game changer, because it's either I'm putting my stamp of approval on this as a professional who cares, or I am saying, no, 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 don't let a guest in here. This needs to be done before a guest can come in. And that simple question at the end of every Breezeway work order for us has been incredible. And it's not just for the infield cleaning professionals, it's for inspectors, it's for anybody that's going in. When you close that door, the property is either, to the best of your knowledge, it is either guest ready or it is not. And we need to be able to sign our name fully, or we need to be able to state what that reason is. And that removes some of that responsibility that maybe we can't take. A great example of this is maybe a safety issue. I mentioned about the broken mirror. We've had this exact thing happen where there's a piece of cut glass, exposed glass, and that window needs to be replaced, or that mirror needs to be replaced. And the team might say, hey, we got somebody coming by to take care of it. We've got a handyman who's on their way. Okay, great. But at that end of the work order, I, as a cleaning professional, I am no longer signing my name. Nope. I am putting glass, exposed glass, safety issue, reported, handyman's on the way. That's where I'm leaving the house, not guest ready. This is critical. We are putting responsibility on cleaning professionals and on inspectors that do not need to bear that responsibility. It is time for us to give a voice. Our guest readiness attest has helped a lot. However it is that you do that, if you're not partnered with us, by all means, do something to give the voice to the cleaning professionals, to cleaning and infield professionals as a whole, to allow them to speak to the homes that are not. So that's the first thing I think that we can do right away, is give a voice. Next, we can increase support. And I mentioned this at the top about how we need more support. What we can do there is provide the infield professionals with certainty of consistent safety and accuracy checks. So I understand, and I think you all do too, that it is not fair or even possible for an infield cleaning professional to be checking every single smoke detector every time, or to be verifying the functionality of all of the accuracy needs, right? Every amenity and all those things. Now, if there's something that's majorly out of place, yes, you need to do it. But when we are talking about the consistent nature that must happen to have safety and accuracy, there needs to be a separate check. There needs to be a separate process. Ding, ding, ding. Jason Ford's got an actual work order. Justin Ford's got an Jason Ford. Does Justin have a brother? Justin Ford has an actual form for this. There's a work order for safety. You can do an accuracy check. You can combine them together, and that's what we're doing at Well and Good. So we are introducing now, based off of these 5 stars, we're going to take those other ones. We're going to take the safe and we're going to take the accuracy aspect, and we're going to make sure that there is a minimum of an annual safety and accuracy inspection that is visible to both our customers as well as to our teams. So our teams can look and see when the last safety and accuracy inspection took place. This is critical. You're an infield cleaning professional and you want to be able to make sure the home is guest ready. You take care of the cleaning and the stocking and the accessibility, right? You're ensuring those. But this safety and the accuracy, you're of course keeping your eyes open, but you also have that to lean on, that support to lean on, where I can say, yes, the annual inspection has been done. And we know things can change, but if we just start with an annual inspection, we are far ahead of where the industry has ever been on this topic. In a specific visit to the home by a trained professional who understands safety and who understands the accuracy and is looking at the actual listing and doing this all together. That is the kind of support that is needed. So those are the things that I believe we can do. I think we can give a voice and we can increase support. And what comes next from that, let's start talking to our teams. Let's start explaining to them that, hey, we understand that guest readiness is more than just cleaning. And we are now looking at this comprehensively with 5 key aspects to guest readiness. And if we can nail this, it starts with simply saying to our teams, there is more to cleaning than there's more to guest readiness than cleaning. And that conversation is what I'm hoping to spark today. I don't think that we all have it figured out. I think that we need collaboration. We need the servicers of this industry to unite together and say, hey, we are actually going to start a conversation about this. The next thing is then we can educate and we can empower. And that has to do with folks being able to complete safety. Cleaners should absolutely be able to complete a safety course to understand what to look for. And then the empowerment, right? That leads to the guest readiness test that I mentioned and the things that we need to do to start giving more confidence to in-field professionals. That happens with education and empowerment. The last thing that I have here is join the conversation. We're going to start talking about this like crazy. Wellandgood.pro is where we are on socials or the website, and everything along the conversation from our perspective will come there. I want to talk, whether we're partnered or not. I want to elevate, pun. I want to bring up the confidence for this industry that I know that I care about. Yes, but I know you care about it too. We wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have the day in and day out work that we care about so much happen if we didn't have that true care for an industry and that true desire to elevate confidence. So that is what comes next. And I think it is time that we get serious about guest readiness and that we truly take this on to elevate confidence for all. It is confidence for in-field professionals, it is confidence for guests, and it is confidence for the hosts and managers of our industry. We can do it. It starts with the conversation of the 5 stars of guest readiness. I'm glad to have presented that for you today. I'm totally open to questions. I know that some have come in. So we've got a web page available for our guest ready items. If you want to scan that QR code or follow the link to the wellandgood.pro/guest ready, that is where we are going to be having a lot of this furthering. But I'm open to any questions that people have as of now. I think that like, there were some that were rolling in. Corinne, how's it going?
That was amazing. And I think, Jonathan, I think one of the things that you said that really sticks with me is that, like, at a really high surface level, none of this is like something that someone is hearing for the first time, right?
Mhm.
This is all stuff that we know, but every single, operator, professional person in our industry can get so busy that, like, these things that are like the basic standard foundations of the stepping stones we have to have can get overlooked. And so I love that you're calling this out. I would just say to everybody who's on the call, Jonathan is a wealth of knowledge in what he's presented today and many other things. So definitely check out what they're doing over at Well and Good, and put questions in on the chat, on the questions. We have some of those. Alex, I see you've been active. I appreciate that. But I think, Jonathan, I want to talk to you for just a second as we wait for some of these questions to come in. I remember you talking about the guest readiness test.
Yeah.
In a prior conversation that we have. And I really think that, like, we talk about guest readiness and we talk about, like, the servicing that has to happen at these properties. And I think so often it's just this thing that's going to happen. And what I love about what you just presented is that these are all of the ways to make that more successful, because
Mhm.
it doesn't matter how many homes you manage, how beautiful the homes are, what a beautiful destination you operate in. If they walk in and they can't get in, right? If it's not
Yeah.
accessible, if they walk in and there's something that's dirty, right? And then they start to question that, like, all of those things go away. So it's really the people who have boots on the ground, who are in your properties every day, that are the ones that can influence this. So I love this conversation. And it looks like the folks are loving it too, because we have some more questions coming in. So
Yeah, I just wanted to mention on the attest, there are many times so far. We've been doing this now for about 4 or 5 months that we've been having the guest readiness attest as a part of our work orders. And there have been so many instances where, yes, we've reported it and we've done the right thing to get to the customer, but that professional just has the confidence that it's like I get to have somewhere that I'm like, okay, it's not guest ready, right? There is such a key component to the responsibility. We have weight. Sometimes it's tough as an infield professional where you're trying to sign off on this property in essence. You're like, I can't sign off on this property. Something's wrong, right?
I
And
did my part, but
yeah, exactly. My part is done. Here's what needs to be done in order to get guest readiness. So that definitely has been helpful. So
and I think it's about appreciation too, right? I think so often as an industry, and I think we're making a shift in that. Like we're definitely seeing
mhm,
a
mhm.
shift in sort of that mindset. But it was, oh, there was something wrong with the property. It must not have been cleaned correctly, right? And I think that
Yeah,
what you talked about with this guest readiness attest is it does empower the cleaner, but it also says, hey, there are many people who influence the guest
yes.
readiness piece, and that is one part of it. So
I think that's exactly it. It puts the onus on the entire team, whether that be the folks, because I think Alex even mentioned how, there's folks that are responsible in the procurement, right? The office and field and remote support. Yup, that's right. They play a role in guest readiness. We should not have all the weight only be on these infield professionals. This gives them a chance to transfer that responsibility.
yeah,
So yeah,
100%.
I see, Bruno, you asked if I could show the accurate slide again. Let me just see if I can. I'm guessing I can. Let me make sure. Hold on one second. The accurate slide really had to do with the listing images matching the servicing images. We are going to do this actually with our team, where we're literally going to verify when we do the first service, is this the same house, right? Are those things actually there? And then the functionality of appliances and amenities. I think that if you hit those aspects of the appliances and amenities on the functionality, you pretty much got the matching of the accuracy. So that's that. Yeah. Let me get past that. Sorry, I'm just buzzing through the screens over here. Let me check and see others.
Yeah, I think well, Alex was talking about how like, that they love the issue reporting, right? To again put some of that weight in there. But I also, what you were talking about with the readiness to test, I think that makes a ton of sense. It sounds like Alex has been doing something similar over at their organization, which is really exciting.
That is fantastic. And I see that you had asked about the formula for identifying which checklist items require a mandatory photo documentation. Great question, because I think that is a challenge. We have gone back and forth on this. We used to have a ton, and then we went to a little bit, and now we're kind of more on the required photos. If you're hitting every room on a required, I think that's probably the minimum. But I don't always have a reference photo for those. Now we're moving more and more towards putting reference photos on every single property and like uploading those for each one. We always have underneath the sink. We always have all the bathrooms, each bedroom, of course. But when it comes to the required photos beyond that, a lot of times it's property specific, right? It's like what should the thermostat be set at? Okay, let's take an example. Take the required photo of that. But the minimum of each room and each bathroom under the beds is kind of where we would fall on that. I don't know if Alex, have I answered a good question there for you, but Veronica has asked a good way to empower housekeepers and let them know their voices are being heard. Yeah, it's honestly been our whole mission at Well and Good is to give empowerment to the folks that first, oftentimes these individuals feel like they're nameless and they're faceless, right? I think the first thing you can do is be up front, out in front about who these professionals are. Let's talk to these professionals as exactly that. I think that terminology matters. To be honest, I call the folks in the homes infield professionals, whether they are completing a cleaning professional or an inspecting professional. I don't like maids, honestly, as a terminology. I even stay away from housekeepers. I am much more about a cleaning professional. This is the designated profession that they have chosen, and so that's one way to do it. And I think involving them in the conversation. How many times do you, with your team, do a standing huddle? How many times do you look them face to face and tell them, okay, hey guys, we're going to talk now about guest readiness. There's 5 stars of it, and you can do this exact thing and bring that to them. They will feel so empowered by just having conversations, being involved in that narrative. So hopefully that helps a bit, Veronica.
And I would just, the only other thing that I would add to that, right, is I think it's I sort of touched on this as well. I would also say, like, it's about telling them about all the great things they do.
Mhm.
Right? It is celebrating all of the victories and the everyday work that's being done and being done correctly. Because I think that's, like all of us, that's what motivates us to to
It's
do
the most
more,
powerful, yeah, positive
or to leave
motivation is more powerful than negative. And, one of our literal core values at Well and Good is that we shout out the good. Yes, we're
Yeah.
going to hear about the negative, but we are going to be louder about the good things that happen. And so there's a lot of ways to do that. But yes, no question, I agree with you there. Let's go into involve the housekeepers in there. Yes, yes, Alex, that's exactly it. This wasn't done from a boardroom, right? This actually came from truly working. I mentioned earlier about our team. We are housekeepers. We are the cleaning professionals, is what I would refer to, and that is where this has come from. The idea of the guest readiness test alone was from cleaning professionals who just were saying, what are we supposed to do here? Like, I can't, why am I bearing liability for something if I've reported it? I don't want to put my name on this, basically. And I think that's a huge part. So yes, and Alex, whether you or Karina or Veronica or any of the folks, Cynthia, who have asked and chimed in, if you want input and add into it, I saw your note about the 3 days versus 7 days. I'm all for the refinement. I don't want to sit here and act like I know everything by any means. We are in this arena together, and so by all means, we can continue the conversation. Yeah, and Karina, you mentioned about not having to have so many layers of management and inspections. I think that that's one of the benefits. If we truly empower our professionals, we can have a guest ready confidence on the vast majority of homes strictly through the cleaning professional, right? If we are giving them the tools to be able to report and say whether a home is or isn't guest ready, then we can have a lot more confidence. And maybe we can save that inspection visit and we can minimize some of the lift of the ongoing, because I think that is something that I know folks are struggling with when you're talking about decreased, we don't have as much time, or we don't have as much maybe resources as we would like. You have to determine when those times are. A great time to see is like when you see, yes, the home is guest ready. That helps. If you see, no, there's something that's needed. All right, I need to go get an inspection going and things like that. Thank you, Bruno. Let me see if I missed any. If there's an option to the Breezeway app to email the summary on your notes to have another follow-up.
So we don't have like the ability to just send like a portion of it, but we are going to be introducing an option for like a watch feature on upcoming tags. So if there's something that we need somebody to watch, we could at, or you have the ability to at mention someone. So that is going to send you currently have the ability to at mention them. So being able to at mention folks is definitely a good way to get that in front of people. But we don't have the ability to like just forward part of that inspection over to them.
Got it. Got it. Yes, Veronica. So we are working closely with Justin. Well and Good and Justin are working to develop the housekeeper's safety certification, and that's going to include some of these items. And so there will be a quick thing. Now, Justin has his full safety certification now. We are working to make a housekeeper, and I keep saying housekeeper now, but a cleaning.
You got it.
I'm okay with housekeeper. I don't want to split hairs over that, but I do think that there's some things that we can do, of course, for the verbiage, but yes, there is going to be a more simplistic nature, because again, safety is such a nuanced topic. We want to be able to nail the biggest things, and we want to be able to make sure that we have education there. And so there are going to be some certifications coming out. We'll have those on wellandgood.pro, as well as they will be available on Breezeway. Coming to North Florida, we are working our way up. We're over in Sarasota as well as West Palm Beach. And so, yeah, Karina, if you want to talk, happy to chat about that. Let me see. We have guests who expected to answer myself. Yeah, amenities, Santana. I think that the amenities aspect is one. I mean, if you feel that the first nights are covered and your guests are good with that, I totally understand that. We do not consider those condiments to be a guest essential. I can list our whole list, and we're going to put that. If you see the guest ready slide, we're going to continue to develop that to where there's clickable links even within that web page that are going to list like what our essentials are. From our essentials, it's paper products, it's your soaps, it's your trash bags, it's your multi-purpose spray, it's pods for laundry detergent or dish soap, and then dishwasher pods, shampoo and conditioner. I think I just hit all the essentials. I'll write that down later. You can message me if you'd like to. Go ahead and send me your email and get the information. Okay, yeah.
Just for
Let me see. Yeah, I think a lot of people do provide the condiments though. I totally am with you, Sarah. It's not like that's not there. It's kind of like lotion. I feel like lotion, great to provide. I think you should. I don't label it maybe as much of an essential as you would say hand soap is, right? You kind of have to have hand soap and lotion is more of the other. Okay, what did I miss?
It looks like there was somebody who was asking about scheduling a meeting with the manager on their account to go over processes. Doesn't if that was you, put your name in the chat, or only Jonathan and I can see the chat, but I think only we can see the chat, but definitely let us know, because it looks like my message went to the wrong person. Or put in your email, and we'll make sure that we can get you connected to the right.
Regular checklist and also season adaptations. Totally. There is adapting to seasonality within the nature of our business, undoubtedly. I do think that a lot of the things about guest readiness and about this topic can translate to any location, any type of home. A guest ready home is all of these things: clean, accessible, safe, stocked, and accurate. Okay. Bruno, we got your email on the meeting request. I think we are set there.
Oh, one more coming in here.
Yeah, no worries. I can communicate.
For some reason it's coming in as Bruno, but we
Seem to
got the
be
right
some-
email. We got the right email, so we'll go from there.
Well, okay, so this is a good one. Sarah, I'm a big believer in, and data backs this up, that if we tell the guest about the amenities prior, they're going to be more likely to book the properties. We did a whole survey on this. I could get into this for a while, but ultimately, we provide a listing for our customers, whether they're a host or a property manager. We provide an image for their listing, and that image literally says that the property is going to be professionally cleaned. It's going to have a luxury hotel style linens and towels, and then it's going to have all the guest amenities, including shampoos, paper products, everything I just listed. We provide that image to literally put on the listing. All the data says that folks just don't know what to expect. And so if we can tell these guests what to expect prior to booking, they're going to book with confidence that they're going to stay in a hotel level type stay. And that is what folks are looking for. They want the amenities. They want to know that they don't have to pack their shampoo, for goodness sake. Like, these things are where we need to be trending. In my opinion, they should be into the actual listing itself. Certainly on a welcome, whether you're doing a welcome packet from Breezeway or others, I think that that's going to help a lot. Okay, we have items spread out in front of us. Okay.
Amazing. All right. Well, Jonathan, as always, as I said earlier, and Bruno reiterated, this was amazing. Thank you.